Sweet. Welcome to class 7. So this is officially the beginning of our last week. We have tonight and then Wednesday, and then we are done. As I mentioned last Wednesday, tonight will essentially just be one long kind of hands-on exercise. So I won't do a normal kind of lesson, and I won't give homework. We'll just begin to build out the framework of our final project. We should get, call it 75% done. And then I will kind of list out before we leave for the night what the next steps are to finish it 100%. So if you guys wanted to finish it tomorrow or before Wednesday, and then just show up, turn it in, and dip out Wednesday, you're more than free. If you don't want to do homework and just want to use the allotted time that we have on Wednesday, like I said, I've had people come in and turn it in within 30 seconds. I have people procrastinate and put it off and spend the whole 3 hours on Wednesday finishing it. So totally up to you. But definitely ask a lot of questions tonight. Stop me if I start getting too far ahead, or if you get lost, or if yours isn't looking like mine. The goal for tonight, like I said, is really to make sure that we have a good foundation of everything that we need for the final project. So before we jump in, I wanted to kind of go all the way to the end. And show again what the final project will look like. I actually realized that the one I showed last Wednesday was a halfway done one from a previous class, as opposed to kind of finished product here. So I'll open this up, and this one just looks a little bit nicer. So the goal of our final project will be to deliver a self-service dashboard. Again, a self-service dashboard is a little bit different than just a static dashboard that you would build and present once. It's something that you're getting a ton of questions that are all pretty related, but slightly different, and want to just kind of build one thing one time and let everything. You found us. Did you see my pretty note on the door?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool. I was hoping that made sense.
It's just that there's so many laughs from my
I thought about
so
that.
glad you were talking.
Yeah, I am struggling today. I was just going through kind of the same thing that I covered on Wednesday, what this final project will look like. So again, self-service dashboards are meant to replicate the same sort of flexibility that we have all learned how to do and build inside of Tableau, and give it to a stakeholder that doesn't have Tableau skills and can kind of essentially build their own dashboard or answer their own questions with this self-service functionality. So again, for what we'll be building, there's two main views. One is a map view and one is a scatter plot. You can change what the color is. Up here right now, it's showing sales. We can change that to profit. You can see both the map and the scatter plot changes. You can change that to average discount. Again, these change. If you click into the map specifically, it will filter over here. You see it says colored by average discount for the state of Nebraska. If I were to change that back to sales, you see colored by sales for state of Nebraska. So it's really dynamic. And then you can also change your X and your Y axis over here. So right now you can see it's sales versus orders. If I want to make it sales versus profit, I can do that, and that would update. And you can also see right now it's broken out by subcategory, but I can click into shipping mode or category or product name, which is a ton, I think. So again, the permutations of this are hundreds of thousands of different combinations of dashboards that you can build. And that is essentially what we would hand off to our stakeholder to say, go crazy, dig in, figure out what you want to figure out, to ultimately eliminate some of the consistent requests that we'd be getting for just slightly different things using the same data. So any questions on this dashboard specifically, the goal of a self-service dashboard, or kind of what we're looking for the final project?
Nope.
Sweet. Okay, let's go ahead and actually real quick, let me go through my PowerPoint and make sure I'm not missing anything that I want to cover before we get going. But if not, I would say let's go ahead and open up Tableau and we'll start building some of these things out. So feel free to go ahead and open up Tableau, bring in Superstore data, drag your orders in there, just like we've done in the past. And I'm just going to click through real quick and make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, no, I think we're good.
And you started your report.
I did. Thank you. I've been pretty good this year or this semester. Normally there'll be 1 or 2 times that I'll forget. Okay. Thank you for reminding me though, because the way my day is going, it seems like something I would forget. Let's go Tableau public. Gosh, I can't describe how nice this is having the TV right there and not having to stand. Like this is an infinitely better setup. I'm going to tell Crystal we should just move it in here. We are going to drag this over. Excel. Superstore data. Orders. And then we'll go over to sheet 1. Tammy, I know you're just setting everything up, so you just want to give me a nod when you got it going.
And of course, it's slow as Jesus.
No worries. I want to wait and make sure everyone's ready to go. Since this will end up being the beginning of our final. Okay, I'm just going to start kind of talking through. The first thing that we're going to cover is parameters. So what parameters are is it is going to allow us to switch what is displayed on our views without having to drag a new thing on our rows and drag something off our rows. So for instance here, like we've built this scatter plot before, right? We've built sales versus profit. But if I wanted to change or break it out by the product name, right? I would bring product name onto my details or my shape or whatever, and it would spread like that. Then instead, if I wanted to have it broken out by category, I would have to drag off product name and drag on category, and that would be a new thing. If I wanted to change it from being sales to profit, I would have to drag off profit and I would have to drag on discount, right? So what parameters allows us to do is essentially create a new variable that we can change with a button. So I think that will make more sense once, as always, we actually build it. So if we open up Tableau, let's start by just dragging sales onto our columns, profit onto our rows, and then let's drag category onto our details. And let's also drag category onto our labels just so we can kind of see what we're working with here. So this is pretty easy. But again, if I wanted to change what we're showing, we'd either A, have to build 20 different dashboards that all look pretty much exactly the same, just with a couple things dragged on and dragged off. Or I would have to keep it in Tableau Desktop, which we've spent now 7 nights learning about and try to trust that my boss or somebody would be able to operate that. So instead, what we're going to do is we are going to create a new dynamic variable that will allow us to switch between category and product name and subcategory and anything else that we want. And that feature is called a parameter. So to create a new parameter, it's in the same little drop down as a calculated field. So we've clicked this before, right? It's right to the right of search. Create calculated field. We've done that. We're going to go down one and choose create parameter. And let's call this dimension breakout, right? Because this is going to let us choose which dimension, either category or subcategory or shipping mode, whatever we want, we are going to break out our scatter plot by. So we're going to call it dimension breakout. Now there's a few different options in here. We're not going to go super deep into all the different things that you can do with parameters. Again, this is a data viz class, not a parameters class. So we're going to keep it pretty simple. We're always going to choose string for our type here. String is just a fancy way of saying text, right? Float is a fancy way of saying a decimal. Integer is a fancy way of saying a number. Boolean is true, false. Date is a date. Date time is a date and a time. So we're just going to limit it to strings or text values. And then it will let you change some different things on what the current value is and the value when the workbook opens. But we're going to leave those alone for now. And we're going to change allowable values to a list. So we're going to keep this, again, we'll go back through everything once we build one, just to kind of show you guys how it's done. Gosh, this is 1 second. Can I make this smaller? Well, we have to figure that out. So again, it should be called dimension breakout, it should be type string, and then you should click allowable values a list. Now, what we're saying here is obviously we have a ton of different dimensions to choose from over here. Some of them wouldn't necessarily make a ton of sense. So let's just choose 2 that do for now. Let's go category. So let's type in category and hit enter. And then let's choose subcategory. Hey, you found us.
I heard the voices.
I'm glad I have a loud voice. Yep, no problem. So it's this little arrow right here.
Okay, I was like, it's obvious, I know where it's at, but I can't find it because I'm stressed out.
No worries to be stressed. We got
Create a calculated field.
underneath that, create parameter.
Okay.
Yep.
I was like, I know where it's at, but I can't find it.
There is no reason to be stressed. We will get through this in plenty of time.
Oh, cancel it. There you go.
Now, a really, really good rule of thumb that will save you guys a ton of time down the road is always type your values exactly like they show over here. In the future, in the next couple steps here, we're going to have to retype these. And I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands of questions, which is fine. There'll probably be some tonight of people saying this won't work or it's not showing. And I look and it's because they have a capital C here and a lowercase c somewhere else, or a space at the end here. Like a lot of people, for some reason, will type category space. We don't want that. Subcategory, they'll have a space instead of the dash. Just type them exactly the same way as they're showed here. If we eliminate any variations, then that will eliminate any opportunities for us to mess up down the road. So let me know when you have Tableau open. You got orders over and sheet open, everything?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
It's still generating.
No worries at all. I'll go back through this here in a second. So for those of you that do have it, I don't know why this option is so big. I can't click OK down here on my screen, so I have to drag it over. But click OK in the bottom right. And voila, you'll notice we have a new section down here that says parameters. So we have our dimensions here, we have our measures here, And now we have a new parameter section with the parameter dimension breakout built right here. So let's go ahead and click that right arrow, or click that arrow, and just click show parameter. That way we can kind of see what we're working with. So over here we have category and we have subcategory. We can click them and nothing happens. All that we've done up to this point is just created a variable that we can reference somewhere else. Right now, the variable or the parameter dimension breakout equals subcategory. Right now it equals category, but nothing's tied to this. There's nothing based off of this dimension. It just exists out there. But now we can use this variable. This is a variable outside of our data set. It's not a column, it's not a row, right? We can go over here. We're not going to see it anywhere. It is just outside of our data set that we can use to reference inside of our data set. So, do you have tab open yet? No, okay, that's fine. I'm going to keep going and then I'll circle back around. Are you caught up here? Mm-hmm. Sweet. Okay, so we have this new variable. We are going to now create a calculated field that references this variable. And we're going to do this about 10 times tonight. So if you're a little confused, just like in the previous night, we'll get a ton of repetitions in, so no worries there. So now we're going to click this arrow and click create calculated field. And let's call this I'm trying to think of what would help us not get confused. Let's just call it CF dash dimension breakout. The reason I'm saying CF dash is for calculated field. I don't want two things named dimension breakout because that may get confusing. So we have our parameter dimension breakout and we have our calculated field dimension breakout. And we're almost done. This is all going to come together. Now we're just going to write an if statement that we've already learned about and say if dimension breakout. And again, once you start typing, it should pop up down below. So you can click into it. You can hit enter. It should turn purple. Let me make it a little bigger here. If dimension breakout equals, and then the little single quote, category, then category. So what does this mean? We have our parameter that we know has two values, category and subcategory. And we know they're not connected to anything yet. They're just a variable that lives out there. Now I'm saying, I'm using it in a calculated field to say, hey, if this parameter equals category, and again, make sure that it's typed exactly the same, then we're going to return our dimension category. Remember, the original goal is for us to be able to break it out by category or subcategory or whatever else we want to choose in our dimensions. So we're going to say right now it equals category. So this would return this dimension category. Else if dimension breakout equals, and again, if you need to reference exactly how you typed it, feel free to just change it over on the side here. Single quote sub dash category, then subcategory. Get a little smaller so we can see it all. And then we'll just end it with an end. I'll leave this up for a couple seconds here so everyone can get it copied over. Make sure, obviously, if you have a typo in there, you'll get this little calculation contains errors. You want to make sure you don't have any of those. Both of your dimension breakouts should be this pretty purple, which we haven't seen before. That just purple just means we're referencing a parameter. Category and subcategory should both be in single quotes. you'll want to make sure that they're typed exactly as they show over here. And then our category in orange and our subcategory in orange should both be like this.
This calculation contains errors.
No worries. As you're going through, I'm going to make sure.
I don't know, for some reason my tab doesn't want to come up.
Oh, okay.
Well,
We'll give it a second to, I know I've been on the portal pages, it's probably open 3 or 4 times now. Oh, you just need to type in
Oh.
ENZ.
I was like, okay, I thought I was doing pretty good.
You were doing excellently. The thing is, the
I can copy
computer
and
has
paste
to
this over to you in
explicitly
Slack so you
told
don't
you
have to
stop.
write it down. There we go.
Happy now.
Now let's go ahead and hit click OK. So now you can see we have a new dimension over here, CF-dimension breakout. So let's get rid of this boring old category from our label and our details. And let's drag our new dimension, CF-dimension breakout, onto our label. I think that's all we need actually. So we should have sales on the columns, profit on the rows, and then CF dimension breakout on our label. So right now we're seeing copiers, phone, accessories, binders, paper, so on and so forth. But the magic happens if I go over here and change it from subcategory to category. This should now update to just show technology, office supplies, and furniture.
Charlie?
Yep.
Oh, so that was very loud. Sorry. For some reason, when I click on my not subcategory, on my category, I'm getting technology the label technology twice. Oh, I guess maybe I need to take off the old text.
Oh yeah, if you still have
Yeah, you're right.
category here, it might be shown twice.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have this stuff to the side.
Oh, make sure you click down here where your parameter is.
Okay.
Click this arrow and just click show parameter. Okay. If any of you are lost, that's totally fine because we're going to go back through pretty much this whole thing and edit it to add some additional dimensions in here. So if it's not working right now, this will be a good opportunity to go through and make sure everything's the same. So this now works for category and subcategory, which is a good start. But let's say I want to add in some of the other things that we've been using, like region and ship mode. Let's just start with those two. So to edit our dimension breakout, let's go ahead and click this arrow again. And click edit. Why did this go off?
So I'm not going to break out. We didn't have anything underneath it, under the arrow. We didn't have category or subcategory. Come on, the box to the right. So we're going to do that. I got the box. Okay, down here. This week,
Yeah, so in the list, we have them right there.
oh, okay.
You just get it.
So make sure category is the capital C.
Yeah, you gotta be exact.
This is where you.
Just put in there. And then do the same thing, sub hyphen capital C.
I thought it was in there.
All right. Computer's not being shaky.
Okay, these two typed in?
Okay, so you, I just got to the category, okay, hold on.
And then type in subcategory 2.
Yes, I got category and subcategory, yes.
Okay, so now if you click OK, let's just make sure these two work before we add on.
Okay, so here,
Oh, sweet. Yeah, so now change it to boom.
okay.
Bingo. Okay, so now we're gonna click back into that and hit edit. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Sweet. Give me 1 second,
Alright.
and I'll come back over. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes to see if you can do this on your own. Go ahead and add in, let's just do, what did I say we're gonna do? Ship mode. Let's see. And region, let's do those two. So go edit. Add in, again, exactly like they're typed over here, ship mode and region. And then go ahead and click OK. So now you'll see in your dimension breakout, you have these two new options, but when you click into them, you just get this one dot, right? And that's because we need to update our calculated field, our CF dimension breakout, to include what happens when we click those two. So we have what happens if you click category, you have what happens if you click subcategory, but you'll want to add in what will happen if you click region and ship mode. So you'll want to add 2 more lines in here. I'm going to give you guys 3 to 5 minutes to see if you can figure it out on your own. And then I'll come back through and walk through it. Okay. Okay, so parameters are going to be in this arrow right here, the same stuff that we have to work with. And I'll be right underneath the one for create parameter. That's an option. And then go ahead and name this dimension breakout. That's fine. And then change this float to a string, and then put list. So in here, you'll type where it says click to add. Add below. Type category. Yep. And then enter.
No,
It's because someone's over your shoulder. Nothing ever looks right when someone's watching. And then type subcategory, just like it's typed there. Oops. So now we have a new dimension over here. If you go ahead and click the arrow beside it and click show parameter, you can see now we have this option over here where we can click into right now this category and then the subcategory. So what we're going to do is go and drag sales onto your columns. And profit onto your rows. And then now we're going to create a calculated field. So click that arrow again, create calculated field. Yep. And call this CF dash. CF is for calculated field. Dimension parameter. So now we're just gonna type what we have up there. I'm gonna make it a little bigger for you.
You know, you typing that in?
In the calculated field that you have opened.
Yeah, I'm not there, I'm not there.
No, you already did it. Okay, so let's go get it. Yeah, in there. Okay. So if you guys haven't gotten it already, your next two lines will just look like this. Else if dimension breakout equals, what's our first one here? Ship mode. Oops, make sure it's typed exactly, Charlie. Then ship mode. Else if dimension breakout equals, our last one I believe was region. Yep. Sweet, so it should look like this. And now if I click OK, now my regions are showing west, east, south, and central. Here are my different shipping modes. Here's my subcategory. Here's my category. Let's do one more just to really hammer it home. And let's go ahead and add in, let's do product name. So you'll want to go in and edit your parameter to add in product name. And then when you're done there, you want to go up and edit your calculated field to include product name. And then you should be able to drop down and select that. So everyone go ahead and try to add in product name, and then we'll come back around.
Yeah, just that.
Yeah,
So you
well, that's fine.
here.
As long as you're just right, so yeah, now. There. And then let's so now we click OK. Now, so this is the calculated field we just created. We drag that onto the label. And right now it's showing category. Now it's showing subcategory. So now if we wanted to add more options as opposed to just these two, all we would need to do is go into our parameter, which is what this is, and click edit. And now we can add a region, ship mode. Just do this product name. Click OK. So now I have category, a subcategory. But when I click into region, right, there's just one dot, ship mode. So these three aren't working yet because I have to change the calculated field. It knows what to do if it's equal to category, and it knows what to do if it's equal to subcategory. But it doesn't have these things yet. So I'm just going to cheat real quick. So we want this is equal to now there's product name, there's a ton of them. There's ship mode, just four, here's our four regions. Subcategory. Oh, you're all caught up.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so then for product name, if you guys are still working on it, that's fine. We'll just edit our parameter. And we'll type in product name. Whoops, let's keep that capitalized. And click OK. And then for our dimension breakout, we'll add a new line in here that says if it equals product if it equals product name, then product name. So this is what our final calculated field should look like. I promise I'm not going to make you guys edit it again.
Hey, Charlie, I have a quick question. Well, I think it's a quick question.
Okay.
Can you help me understand? I get stuck on this. I thought, so when I had the category still under detail, right? That's when I was getting the double sort of labels.
Okay, yeah.
I thought the detail only affected what happened when you hovered over, just listed what you saw listed when you hover over a data point.
Yes. So I think
Why do I get double labels?
I think what would be happening is if so like here's a good example. So since category is on the detail, it is grouping by category. But then our dimension breakout, which is currently shipping mode, it's also grouping by shipping mode. So this one we have standard class office supplies. So it's grouping by standard class, which is the shipping mode, and the category, which is office supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And this one we have standard class and the category is technology.
Yeah.
So even though the label is just our shipping mode here, we now have two different, we would actually have a third and fourth one down here too somewhere, dots. So it's grouping by both of these things. This would be the same as like if we had something on, if we had this on rows and we had this on rows. It's two dimensional, it's grouping by category and this, which gives you your duplicate dots here. So it looks like it's labeling it twice, but there's actually multiple things on there.
So now if you take the category off and hover over that standard class, you now don't see the description of category anymore.
Right.
Which you shouldn't, because you're just doing it by ship mode.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep, no, that was a great question. Details is like kind of tricky because sometimes, it just adds it. Most of the times we use it just to add additional things in our tooltip, but it has to be able to group by it too. So it'll also group by those different things as well.
Why does mine have a highlight of the image of the box?
You have a box under here.
Under category, yep, this is highlight CF image.
I don't know. I need to move this chair so I can quit taking hold on. I'm guessing.
Is mine,
I'm actually not sure about that up there. You added it somehow, but we'll ignore it for now. Yep. Okay, we will come back to this. This is, remember, let's go back to our final project for a second. We just built this dimension breakout. It's just called breakout on here, where we can change, right? We have our sales versus orders right here. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to load. right? But we can now do exactly what this final project is doing. In fact, we have region in ours and there's not region here, so we took it one step further. But right, we have this part done. So let's go ahead and rename this one. For right now, we'll just call it sales versus profit because we haven't added the ability to change our axes yet. And I think this would be a good time for everyone to go and save as well, since essentially we'll just kind of keep building on this for our final. And then when you title it, let's make sure to call this something like ODSA Fall 2025. When I submit your guys' like final grades or whatever to Crystal, we include the link to your final project. So just make sure you call it something mildly professional, and then click save. All right. Make sure that I'm logged in over here. Yep, okay. So we're going to come back to our scatter plot. We'll keep editing that. But for right now, let's go into the second piece of our final project. Where did I save it? Which is, sorry, I accidentally closed out of it. There we go. Which is the map piece. So we haven't covered maps up to this point in the class, except for a couple of homework questions that people have, but that's totally fine. They're very easy to make. So let's go ahead and build this out next. So we're going to create a new sheet. And Tableau makes building maps literally the easiest thing in the world. I've referenced this a couple times, but we never actually used it. To the left of our dimensions and measures are these little symbols, right? It's telling us, hey, this is a text field or a string. These little globes means that it knows it's a geographical field, right? So city and country have the little globes, postal codes has the little globe, state has the little globe, right? The little calendar knows it's a date. The number means it knows it's a number. So when we have these little globes, Tableau automatically knows through like a back-end data set that it has, the latitude and longitude of any geographical field. So down here, right, we've noticed this a few times. It says latitude generated, longitude generated. That means that even though we don't have our latitude and our longitude in our data set, right, there's no column that says latitude or longitude. It knows when I have a state, for instance, it knows the latitude and longitude of Nebraska and California and blah, blah, blah. So if you want to build a map, we're going to use state for right now. The easiest way to do it is literally just double click on state. And it will automatically bring longitude and latitude up here and drop state on your details. Now, you could build that from scratch, right? You could drag latitude, longitude, and you can drag state on your details, and you could change this to a map. Whoops, I think these are flipped because my country's on the side. Right, and it gives you something like this. That like takes forever, and I never do it. So the easiest way is just anytime you have a little geographical, little globe here, just double click on that, and it'll automatically make it for you. Some of you may have something that looks like this. Once it has the map, there's two kind of different types of maps you can make. So let's go ahead and drag. Let's everyone go and click on circle here. Now, if I drag, let's say sales to our size, it's going to just put a dot over each state with the size of each dot being the number of sales for that state. I think they look a little cleaner. Let's go ahead and instead drag, let's just drag off sales and change this from a circle to the option that shows map. And then if we drag sales onto our color, I always think this looks a little cleaner. Now the color of each state is going to be the number of sales. So you can see California has our most, 457,000, followed by New York and Texas, and all the way down the color spectrum there. Do you have longitude and latitude and up there? Do you have?
My map is in color.
Oh, okay. Do you have sales on your color? And then does this say map?
That's what I want.
Got it? Sweet. Okay. So let's title this. What did I call it on the homework? By state. So for right now, let's just call it sales by state. Now, in our scatter plot, we changed the dimension, right? We changed if we were going to break it out by our category or our subcategory or our shipping mode or our region, right? So we have this dimension breakout. But for this map, let's say we want to change how it's colored. Right now it's colored by sales, but what if we wanted to color it by profit? What if we wanted to color it by discount? Right? We'd have to drag this off, drag this on, right? Build 10 different types of maps like that. And these are all measures. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new parameter now. And instead of having it allow us to select different dimensions, we're going to have it select different measures. So again, to create a parameter, we click this arrow right here. And we're going to create parameter. And let's call this one measure to show. Again, we're going to change this data type to a string. And our allowable values are going to be a list. So let's start really simple and just type sales, enter, and profit, enter. Again, capital S, capital P, SALES, PROFIT, and then click OK down in the bottom right. So now we should have two parameters down here. Our dimension breakout, which we've already worked with on our scatter plot, and our measure to show. Now, again, it's not showing up over here yet. You don't have to show it. I always like to show it just so I can make sure I'm typing everything in correctly. So you just click that arrow and click show parameter. So sales, profit, right? Nothing's tied to it yet. It's just a parameter that's out there that now currently equals profit. Now it currently equals sales, but nothing changing it doesn't matter. So what do we need to do? We need to create a calculated field. So we're going to click this arrow key and we're going to choose create calculated field. Let's call this one again CF, just so we can distinguish the difference between the two. And let's call this measure to show. Now this is going to be very similar, where we're going to start with an if statement. And we're going to say if our measure to show It's a little bigger. Equals. Move this off to the side so I can check this. If it equals quote sales with a capital S, then sales. Else, if our measure to show equals, what's our next one? Profit. Single quotes profit. Then profit. End. I'll leave this up for a couple seconds. Let me know if you guys are getting any errors or have any questions.
So my sales and my profit,
What is that?
my sales and my profit are not red.
Yeah. So I could try to not like type them like that, but try to just type in one letter and enter. And then say what this thing here. There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't have it.
Okay. Now, if we go ahead and click OK, you can see we have a new calculated field. This one is showing down in our measures. So let's drag off our sum of sales from our color and drag on our CF measure to show our color. So now I currently have profit selected, which is why I have this orange to blue scale. If I change that to sales, I get this blue to blue one. Now, I guess before I keep going, everyone have this so far? And make sure it works when you select profit or select sales, going back and forth there.
So I don't have the measure to show on the side. How can I do that?
Yeah. Just go over to the bottom left where it says in your parameters, click the arrow and click show parameter. Did that work?
Just a second. Yeah,
Charlie,
Thank
I
you.
don't have the colors. This is Celeste. I don't have the colors.
Do you have your calculated field measure to show? Did you drag that over to color?
Edit colors. Calculated field. Measures to show overcolored?
Yep.
Oh, calculated field. Okay, I got it.
Sweet.
Okay.
Okay. We're really close. I'm trying to think. Let's do one more thing before we take our first break, just while it's fresh in our mind.
I'm sorry, Charlie. My colors aren't doing the right thing. I don't know what I did wrong.
Okay. Do you
I
have,
do have that.
What was that?
Yeah, I do have that. The CF dimension. Oh. Huh. Measure to show. Is it the parameter?
Nope, it should be right here in your measures. CF measure to show.
Sorry, technical difficulties. I don't know why I can't.
Yeah, you're fine.
Oh, that made all the difference. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Okay, so notice now when we created our calculated field based on a measure, it automatically has our sum in here. So it's summing our profit, it's summing our sales, and I can't change, right? Once I publish it, it's going to be locked in a sum. I wouldn't be able to change it in here to an average discount or an average sales. Gosh, I keep clicking on the wrong one. Whatever. Right? I wouldn't be able to change this from a sum right in here to an average or a count or whatever. So we want to make sure we're going to change it from, instead of just returning in our calculated field, just sales and just profit, and then summing them up, right? We talked about this a little bit when we talked about level of detail calculations. We're going to tell Tableau what aggregation we want to do inside of our calculated field. So what I mean by that, this is a really easy change. Click into your calculated field and click edit. And I'll show you why this is important in a second. Instead of if measure to show equals sales, then sales, we're going to type in SUM parentheses and then close the parentheses on the other side of that. So we're just going to tell it if it equals sales, then return the sum of sales. So we're telling it it's going to do sum. And I'll get an error because it's saying, hey, you can't do a sum here and then not aggregate something here. So we're also going to wrap profit in a sum. So it should be exactly the same, just with some parentheses around our sales and our profit. Now, when you guys click OK, it'll give you an error. This one will turn red, right? Because it's sum. And hey, we're already summing it. So let's just drag off that red one and drag measure to show back on. Now you'll notice it says AGG, which is just saying, hey, it's already aggregated. So it's showing the same exact thing. We're just doing the aggregation inside of our calculated field instead of letting Tableau do it for us. Now, why that's important is because the next option we're going to add in for our measure to show is going to be our average discount. So if I would have just returned sales, return
Charlie,
profit.
can you slow down a little? Charlie, can you slow down a little? Can you slow down a little bit?
Yeah, I'm planning on
and
opening
repeat things. Okay.
Yep. I'm going to go back through and open everything back up. I'm just trying to make sure that we're tying the whole picture of why we changed that back to the output we're trying to make. But in our measure to show, this is what that calculation should look like. It should be exactly the same as we had before, just with some around our sales and our profit.
Oh,
All right. Does everyone have this now?
No, I don't, but keep going.
Oh, that's fine. I want to make sure everyone's got it. Do you have this calculated field created?
You know, it's not letting me choose some expression. It's like it's just blocked, and I can't choose some expression on modifying the sum in the calculated field. It just won't let me do it. It's like just blocked.
Is it letting you type at all?
I did it manually. Okay, I did it manually. Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah, I just went ahead. I didn't choose anything. I just went ahead and typed in SUM parentheses.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so you do have this now?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, the reason we moved our sums to inside of our calculated field, and again, once you get that done, Celeste, you'll want to make sure that you drag off what was previously on there.
Yeah.
Drag on measure to show on the
I did.
color. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're going to add in, so we have sales profit. Now we're going to add in average discount. So we're going to be editing our measure to show. So we're going to click this arrow and click edit. And now let's just type in discount as our third option here. Again, with a capital D. D-I-S-C-O-U-N-T. Click OK. So now our three values should be sales, profit, and discount. Sales should work, profit should work. And now if we click into discount, everything should be the same color. You can see the color says null because nothing's tied to discount yet. So we're going to edit our measure, our calculated field, our CF measure to show. And it's going to be exactly the same, else if measure to show equals discount. Whoops, I forgot my quotes. Discount. Then now instead of a sum, we're going to show average. So that's going to be AVG, parenthesis, discount, and then make sure to close your parentheses at the end. So now before, if I would have just returned sales, profit, and discount, they would all be summed, or they would all be averaged, or they would all be count, or they would all be the median. We're actually doing it inside now, so we can have some different options where we'll sum our sales and our profit, but our discount we will actually average. And of course, if we wanted to add in 10 different things, we could also add in average sales, average profit, total sales, total profit, right? We could add in whatever we want because we have that flexibility inside the calculated field.
That's fast, Charlie. You're going fast again.
Okay, we're not actually going to do that. I was just saying you could do that if you wanted to. All we're going to do is just what I have on the screen here. Yeah.
You selected, never mind,
Sure.
Okay, in the right spot. So when you did that, your average, did your parentheses automatically come up?
I typed them in.
Mine came up automatically. It comes up like a AG expression.
Yeah.
That's okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Then just make sure you type in discount in there. Since I already had discount in there, I just wrapped it. But if I was starting from scratch, I would definitely do it this way.
I'm always surprised when it says this calculation. I'm like, yeah, right.
I know how you feel. That feeling doesn't go away. You type it all in, and you're like, crossing your fingers. All right, is anyone still typing this?
Nope, all set.
Good in here. Sweet. So now if we click OK, voila, now we're showing an average discount, a total profit, a total sales, and I'll show you guys how we can change how these display to actually show total sales, total profit, average discount without breaking everything, but we won't do that yet. Before we take our break, let's go ahead and toss both of these in a dashboard. And we will essentially have the structure of our final project already done. So click New Dashboard. I'm going to change mine to automatic for the size, but if you guys like working with a fixed size, feel free to do whatever you want.
Where did you go and select the dashboard?
Yep, down is this little middle button. New Dashboard. And then click where it says size, just change that to automatic. That's what I did.
They gave me a whole new sheet.
Oh, that's fine. We can always go back and delete it.
But it doesn't say dashboard.
Oh, click this button that says New Dashboard right in the middle. It's the
Oh, it's right there, I think. Maybe we need sheet 3 again.
No one. Yep, there you
Okay, Charlie, I don't get automatic in my drop down.
go. Yeah, click down a little.
This one?
And then change it right now to range.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah, this one really could be. Okay,
There
there we go.
we go. All right, now we have our two sheets, sales versus profit, sales by state. We're to drag sales versus profit onto our dashboard. And then let's drag sales by state to the left. So again, when you kind of hover over it, it should turn gray on the left side. That's what we want. Go ahead and drop that in there.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, and we will clean all this up later, but for right now, let's rename the dashboard to just say self-service dashboard. I think is a good name for it. And then by default, the titles don't show on dashboards, which normally I'm okay with, but for our final project, let's make sure that it's titled. So to get this title of our dashboard to actually show, at the very top where it says dashboard, just click show title. Okay, so before we save and take our break, let's just review what we've done real quick. We have our map. That's right now, it's showing sales by state. We'll have to change that. But right now it's showing sales. I can change that to profit in the map updates. I can change that to discount in the map updates. And then I also have our sales versus profit over here. Right now it's broken out by shipping mode. I can change that to category, subcategory, ship mode, region, and product name. So let's go ahead and make sure we save. Totally fine just calling it the same thing. It says it already exists, override it, yes. And voila, here's the final project. Here's what we have so far. Believe it or not, we're probably about halfway home. It's only been an hour. So let's take a 10-minute break. At 7:19 right now. Let's just come back right at 7:30. So I guess an 11-minute break. And then we'll work on cleaning this up and adding some additional bells and whistles. And we're well on our way. So be back here at 7:30.
So,
Okay. My images are not side by side, they're actually by here.
Okay. Not fun. If you ever want to change these, just this little gray tab,
Oh,
if you pull that up, you should be able to hover and it will
give me,
gray.
okay, so I was trying to take the arrow and move one to the side.
So that everything would, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, it's see our monitor to all that road over on the right. You can't tell which one ties to which, but now this changes this one. So eventually we'll move those over anyways.
I have a question.
Yep. And then make sure you save.
Okay,
Oh, that's great.
but you see all these?
Oh, yeah.
It's because I just kept building because I don't know where my actual first data set went. I don't know. So I just kept
Oh, okay.
So is there any way to isolate this and make it, it's like it's my final project with just this, or no? And-
Well, yeah, it won't really matter, because everything will be on this dashboard,
Okay,
so I won't need to click through all the tabs. So yeah, that's fine.
okay, just making sure.
As long as you're saving and everything
Yes.
regularly.
I'm saving. I'm like, I don't even know what happened to you.
That's what I did for like at each class, they want my stuff.
I know, and I was like, okay, now, I don't know what happened, but I'm not gonna stress out because I need to go forward. I can't figure out.
Cause I can always tell when I missed a step.
Like, wait a minute, yep. But I ended up loving it because then I could always go back to the sheet and go, oh, that's what it
Yeah, true. Maybe that's the best way to do it.
I'm like, this don't stress me out. I'm trying to understand this stuff.
I know, you know what, I left my phone too. Because I knew it was the final thing, I left my phone, I was like, I didn't know what. Distraction.
Oh, my family, they are just. So we normally have Sunday dinner, and it doesn't matter, I stopped all that fancy cooking, it's whatever we have.
Whatever we had.
So, but we stopped it because our oldest son, our youngest child is in Botelli. Oh, I said, we practice on Sunday, so I'm not doing all of that. So, and by the time we get it together, it's a long day, so they moved it to Mondays, but I have this class. So now they're all at the house. Well, last week we had it on Thursday, so
Y'all
I
keep
don't
changing.
I'm like, I don't know why I got picked Monday,
Uh-huh.
because I got class, so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, they just texted me, I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know what to do. Usually I too, on Sunday, I'll cook them a big dinner and, you know, try and invite my youngest son over because he has a smaller family. And he's with his children's mother and they're little tiny kiddos, and so I usually cook, but this Sunday I didn't. I went to Sam's Club, and so I purchased those little mini tacos because I didn't first, at first I ate them on Thursday and found out that they had them at Sam's Club. So when they came over, like I said, usually I cook dinner and I did, and we all had those.
Well, my Sunday dinners have potato, I used to do the roast and I'm like, no, whatever I can find, we're speaking together. And I stopped that, I was like, this is a lot of work. You gotta get up early Sunday morning, get the roast on. You gotta boil the potato, you gotta peel the potato. That's a lot of freaking work. The problem is, now I really know what we eat, because I used to know what the potato was, but now O'Reilly sells those peeled frozen potatoes. They're hard to find, and they're not, they used to be in the French fries section, but they're not. I don't know why they're in the frozen vegetable section now. So they're peeled russet potato, that's what they say. It's a great word, they are.
Yes.
And I'll get those and I'll steam those in the microwave and then I'll mash them, but all that cutting, I'm not doing all of that work.
Yes. And they, my mother used to do it, and they was like, what's missing? So now I'm just trying to but like I said, if nothing else, once a week I'll cook a big dinner. And like I said, my little ones, they rarely eat, but my granddaughter, she's a picky eater, and so they're trying to get her to eat. But she'll eat my food. She don't eat what her mama cook all the time. And I told him, I said, I think what it is she's missing me. And you have to start bringing her around me because she's, they don't understand that. They're young parents that don't understand.
They don't understand the connection with this, not the meal.
Yeah. So they don't get it. when she came over, she sure enough, she ate the tacos,
Mhm.
ate the little mini tacos, and I said, try to give her food. Give her food. Like, she'll eat salmon. But
That's a nice taste, but it's-
but she won't barely eat anything else.
Hmm.
But she'll eat salmon, fish. But that's because she was, starting to eat. I fed her that kind of stuff and vegetables. She'll eat for me.
Mhm.
Not for them.
I think we grandmothers just have a special place.
It's something about that.
I wouldn't perform in front of my grandmother unless I wanted, I did a big crisis, fell out when she was. I told my kids, don't rush that grandparent stuff, 'cause our son is, so we have a gap, so our daughters are 28 and 26, and then our son is 17. I said, do not rush this, because when I get this, I'm not gonna warn them, where am I at?
And I started all over. I'm 32, 26, 25, and then I adopted my little cousin.
Oh.
And she just turned 10.
Ooh,
Right. Ooh, but that's my baby. You can't tell her nothing different.
we were just talking about that. I said, because we always wanted to be foster parents,
Yeah.
but then we had our son, and I was like, well, hold up now, because we're gonna be particular, because we have 2 girls, so we want to bring in a teenage boy, you have to be particular.
Yes,
Then
because
we
I'm
had-
raising, when he's unified foster kid too. And you do have to be particular.
Mhm.
So they don't give you everything.
Mhm. Oh, no, there's trial and error. So I was like, well, then, so we just, so then we were, with our nephew. He'll let him tell you everybody gang, and when he won't tell you that he victimized everybody, so
Yeah.
it's like, you cannot victimize somebody.
And you can terrorize everybody.
Yeah.
What you think, everybody know, they know. Everybody in the family knows.
I see you a lot of this, decisions that you make and they're consequences. I said, but you smart as a whip. Do you choose to? But I said, I want you to know that I don't have nothing to do with this, but I'm not, I can't let you come in and take my home. And I'm raising a son too. So I can't have what you do disrupt what he's doing, because you definitely interested in what he's doing. So I said, my son's student rights is the class president.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cutting up with you.
Yes, and this 12-year-old, he was electronic. My baby only, and I have him in private school, they only got electronics in his favorite test. Everything else, paper and old school, that's traditional school for you, I like that. And she likes to read. This kid don't know and won't do.
Yeah, they don't have to.
They don't have to.
This, pops up. And the sad truth is they have to know how to use it.
And he's
They
so
learn.
smart, he works with his hands and everything, but he's not. I mean, I'm okay with it. He get A's. I said, how does he get A's if he can't read? That no child left behind. Come on. What are they learning?
That's what they messed up, the whole time. You're not just going on separate reading.
All right, let's go ahead and get going. We are going to tackle the next 2 things. I have way too many tabs open. One. Oh, there it is. The next 2 things we are going to tackle is the ability to click into a state and have it filter your chart over to the right. And then I don't know if I've covered this or not, but there's also ability in here, and this is kind of a trivial example, but if you want to learn more about Nebraska, there's a little learn more button that actually opens up the Nebraska Wikipedia page. Oh, sweet. Glad you guys like that one. So we'll cover those two in the next half an hour or so. We should wrap up around 8. And then I will go through and essentially give you guys a list of the remaining things that we have to do for the final project. Again, it should be the last 25% or so. If you want to do it before Wednesday, feel free. If not, we'll spend Wednesday finishing that, and then we'll be good to go. So probably done with parameters tonight, although there's some additional things that we'll need to do to finish it off. But let's transition to what are called dashboard actions. So dashboard actions are just like what they sound like. They're actions that you can take inside your dashboard. For instance, get out of here. Clicking into a state filters something over here, or hovering over something takes you to a different web page. So let's start with clicking into the state and filtering this. So to create a dashboard action, you go up to the little dashboard tab at the top and select the actions button. Brings this up. Actions let you create interactive relationships between data, dashboard objects, and other worksheets and the web. So we're going to show that we don't need to click anything here. We're just going to click add action. Now I'm going to go through what all of these do just so you know, even though we'll only use a couple of them. Filtering is when you click into something and it filters something else. So that's actually the one we're going to use, where we click into Nebraska and it filters the scatter plot for just showing the Nebraska data. Highlight, which is what you accidentally got up somehow, is actually when you click into something, not as a bad example on here, but say we had a table over on the right with all of our different states. If we clicked on Nebraska, it would highlight all the Nebraska rows. Go to URL is the second one we'll use, where we click into a button and it'll actually open up our web page and go somewhere we tell it to go. Go to sheet would be like if we wanted to drill down into, like we have our main dashboard here, but let's say we had a different sheet that was completely dedicated to Nebraska sales. If we clicked into Nebraska, it would go to that. And we could go back and we click in and it could go to a different sheet here. So you can actually kind of create these navigation abilities inside of Tableau to treat the dashboard more like a web page where you can click and go to these different things. You can actually change our parameters. So we could click into like sales and have our measure to show change from discount to sales. But again, we won't do that. And then we're not going to talk about set values at all because that's like a Tableau 801 level concept. So to start out with, let's just click filter. And let's name this one state filter. Now there's two little sections here, source sheets and target sheets. So our source sheet is going to be what we're going to click into, and the target sheet is going to be what is going to change. So we are going to be clicking into our sales by state. So we can uncheck this one. And we want our sales versus profit to change, our scatter plot. So we're going to uncheck this one. So sales by state should be checked here, and sales versus profit should be checked here. Oh, sweet. Here we go. I haven't been able to click my OK button all night. It's been very annoying. Now, the second options here are when we want to run the action. Hover is exactly what it sounds like. As soon as we hover over a state, our scatter plot would change. That I find very annoying because sometimes you want to hover and just see what the details are. Like if you wanted to go to Nebraska, you would hover over like 5 different states. It would change 5 different times. It's a little sporadic. Select is just when you click it, right? So that's what we're going to choose is select. Menu would be if you click and then you hover over it, like the additional stuff pops up. We'll actually use that for our Wikipedia thing later. So we won't cover that for right now. But for this one, make sure just select is selected here. Then the second option is clearing the selection. So once I click into Nebraska, when I unclick out of Nebraska, what do I want to do? Keep filtered values means that our scatter plot would continue to be filtered to just Nebraska until we clicked into something else. I don't like that. I think that gets a little bit confusing. Show all values is what we're going to use. So when we click into Nebraska, it filters to Nebraska. When we unclick out of Nebraska, it will go back to showing everything. And then exclude all values would be, we click into Nebraska, it shows just Nebraska. We unclick out of Nebraska, it shows nothing until we click into California, then it would show California. We unclick, it shows nothing. I like being able to see everything if we don't have anything for our state selected. So we're going to have show all values here. Now, the bottom is what are we actually going to be filtering? It actually works just fine if we choose all fields. Tableau will be able to tell what we're clicking into and filtering there. So if we had multiple things, you would filter multiple things. However, that does get messy sometimes. So a good rule of thumb is to just be really specific about what you want to filter. Otherwise, it may be filtering things that you're not even aware of. Tableau is trying to help. And like I said, most of the time it works, but I have ran into issues before. So let's just choose selected fields here. Now we just have to choose, okay, what source field do we want to filter by? And we're going to choose state. And they're in, where is it here?
In a very random order.
Yeah, I think you can type in state and it'll filter. But yep, we're going to want to choose state. So it should autocomplete because Tableau is smart. But our target data source is just the data source that we're using. So it should be Superstore. And then our target field is just going to be state.
It's not allowing me to add the source field state, and I don't have
If you
Did you put the selected field here again?
oh yeah.
Yeah, so let's go down.
Well,
Oh.
Why did it go down?
It was just, yeah,
Do you know
scroll
why?
down.
I probably should have selected.
Oh, look, see now.
I selected it 3 times. Yeah, I selected it 3 times.
That's weird.
My stuff is on its own, but it's tiny.
It's so funny, like, I mean, it's this, we're all using the same app, but when you have different computers, every computer does it slightly differently. Is anyone virtually using a Mac?
No, sir.
If you are, more power to you. I actually think it's a little better on a Mac, but it is definitely looks different than on a PC. So when I'm teaching people on a Mac, I'm like, oh no, I've never had one before. So that makes it even harder. But okay, so it should be called state filter. Let's just make sure we have everything. Our source sheet should be sales by state. Our target sheet should be sales by profit. We're going to run this on select or when we click. Clearing the selection will show all values. And we're just going to be filtering by our selected fields. Our source field is going to be state, and our target field is going to be state. When you guys have that, click OK. And now voila, in our dashboard actions, we can see we have a new one called state filter. It's running on select. Here's our source, here's our fields. If we click OK. Now when we click into a state, this updates over to the right. And you'll notice when you unclick it, it goes back to how it was. Clicking into Florida, updates, unclicking goes back to where it was. And you can change if you want to mess around with it. Even if we change this to discount, let's change it to sales. Still works. If we change it from shipping mode to category, still works here. Okay. Now our second one is going to be the little learn more button. So we can go out to our different Wikipedia pages. This is a good example. There's a few different use cases I've used this go to URL. It's important, it doesn't work for everything. But if your URLs are in a consistent format here, so Wikipedia is a really good example because it's english.wikipedia.org/wiki/New Mexico, right? If I just type in Nebraska here, it updates, right? If I type in Texas here, it updates. So the URL is exactly the same every time, except for the state here. So that's what we can use. That's how Tableau will know when I click into something, it'll actually go to the same exact URL every time, except for that last little parameter, which is state. Where I use it a ton at work is I'll show you guys. Let me actually pull this up. Let's go to like, I'm going to show you guys some proprietary builder trend stuff. So probably shouldn't, but that's okay. In Salesforce, which is what we use for our CRM, there's these things called opportunities. So let's go here. Let's go here. So Salesforce's URLs are always exactly the same, except for this opportunity ID. So I will use this when I make dashboard for like reps of like, hey, here's who you have to call on a day, or here's where your hottest leads are, or something like that. I'll give some details about the company, and then they can click into it and it will go to their opportunity page in Salesforce, except for this ID. Like that will be the piece that changes every time. So the only time you can really use these go-to URLs is if it's a consistent URL and there's one little parameter that you have in your data that you can insert into the URL to change it. So let's go ahead and add that in. Again, it's a dashboard action. So to add our dashboard actions, we're going to click dashboard in the top tab here, and we're going to click actions. Here's our state filter. We're going to add a new one. And this one's going to be go to URL. Now this one, we only want our source sheet to be sales by state. So we're going to uncheck sales versus profit. And we're going to keep the run action on menu like it is by default. And then either one of these work fine. I'm just going to keep it on new tab. Now our URL is going to be I think we do actually need that. Yeah, so if it's easier, if you guys just want to go out to Wikipedia and copy and paste it, you can do that. Or if you want to type it, you can do that. Or if you have Slack open on your computer, I will drop this in here. Or you can just copy it from my screen too. But https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/. I'll give everyone a few seconds to copy that over.
Even though our data
has this space in New Mexico, and when you use that, it translates it with the underscore.
Does it? I was actually, as I was going through that example, I'm like, oh, this may not work for New Mexico, and I saw that one.
Yep, it does.
Glad
North
you tested
Carolina,
it.
same thing. It works. Yeah, as you were setting it up, I was like, how are we gonna address that underscore in there?
Yeah.
It knows to replace spaces with underscores.
Love that.
So as long as that's what your website does.
Okay. When you guys have this typed, the last thing we need to add, right? So we have our base URL here. We're just missing the state field, and we want that state to be dynamic based on what we click. So we click this little insert button, and we are going to choose state. So our URL should look like this. You can have the little brackets. It should have the little brackets around state, which is just Tableau's way of showing this is going to be a dynamic variable. But then it gives us a little example here, just based on the first alphabetical state in our data set, Alabama. So if you click on that, you can click it just to test. It should pull this up. Does everyone have this typed in?
Yes, but I missed what you did with the insert.
Oh, yep. Just click insert and then choose state.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll open this back up in a second if anyone's still working. Before we click OK, let's change the name of this and call this like wiki. Just wiki is probably fine. And click OK. So now if you guys want to test it, like I said, I'll open it back up in a second, but if you do have it, when you click into a state and hover, there's this little wiki URL that pops up that should take you out to here. You can unclick, we click into Texas, it should pop up. A little wiki here. So if it's not working, or if you guys ever need to edit these or anything, you just go dashboard, actions, click on our wiki and choose edit. And again, this is what it should look like here. Okay, click OK. Give me a shout if you guys don't have it. Now's a good time to probably save again.
I am so sorry. It's not. I don't see that learn more. Is that where should I see the link after I've saved the action?
There you go. Data viz / geography.
No.
Okay, so let's take a gander of what we have left to do here. So a couple easy ones. I'm actually going to write these down as we're going through them. So I can copy and paste them so everyone knows what we need to do. Okay, so one thing we have here is our titles are dynamic. So right now it says profit by state, right? If we click in here, it shows sales by state, average discount by state. Ours right now just says sales, no matter what we click into. So we are going to want to make sure that we update our titles to use our parameters. I'll go through all of these before I let you guys go for tonight. I just want to get through them all. So that's one thing. You'll also notice that over here in our scatter plot, it says for state all. If I click here, it says for state Nebraska. If I actually hover and select multiple states, it will list for state Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, and 7 more. So we're going to want to make sure that we update our titles to use parameters, both main titles and our subtitles, specifically to show which state is selected. The next thing that I have is our scatter plot. You'll see is actually colored the same as our map. So that's a super easy one. Right now, our scatter plot doesn't have any color on it, right? It's just our little circles. But if we add our color on there, then we can actually get profit, sales, and whatever we're showing over here. So we can get 3 things on one, which again, if the goal of this self-service dashboard is to give them as many different data points as they could ever want, let's make sure that we color our scatter plot by our measure to show. And then probably the biggest thing that we still need to do, right, is we have our dimension choice. I think we called it something else. We called it dimension breakup. And we have our measure to show. So we have those 2 things. But we don't have our X and our Y axis parameters, right? So here I'm showing average discount versus profit. I can change that to be sales versus profit. Right, not showing sales. I can change that to be sales versus average discount. Sales versus average discount. So we need to create, create 2 new parameters for our X and Y axis. Now, creating parameters takes a long time. We went through a few different things. What you'll notice is that these X and Y parameters, X axis, Y axis parameters, are the same exact values as our measure to show. So we should be able to skip some steps and just duplicate those and change our calculated fields. So I'm just going to leave a little note in here that says take advantage of duplication, create the parameters, right? We have to create the parameters, and then we'll also have to create corresponding calculated fields. I think actually that's it. The only other thing I would have in here, we'll actually do one together because it's kind of annoying, would be to just clean up the dashboard. So what I mean by that, let's get rid of those ugly grid lines. Let's make sure that our colors are something that we like and not just, maybe this default Tableau. Another thing that often goes unnoticed is the tooltips. Right, if you look into ours right now, We called our thing CF dash measure to show, but like that's kind of an annoying thing. So maybe we'll want to change that. Maybe you guys like it when it's listed as more of a story as opposed to just bullet points. So clean up the dashboard, clean up the tool tips. And then also, Tammy was telling you earlier, like these take up a ton of space over on the right, and it's kind of tough to tell which one goes to which thing. So like you'll notice over here, oh, I keep clicking the wrong final project. Let me pull up my pretty one. Oh, that's not it. Sorry, I've done this a few times. Yeah, whatever. I can't find a good example, but it may be worth moving some of these around, right? Like this measure to show, maybe I want to put up here, dimension breakout, maybe I want to put over here, just so it's more easily, you can tell which one you're using which thing for. Whatever. I'm going to leave cleanup dashboard pretty ambiguous, and you guys can do what you want there. So let's go through these all again real quick. Again, this is what we are going to do on Wednesday. We are going to go through these things together. So don't freak out if you're like, wow, this is a lot. I don't know how to do these things. The reason I'm listing these out is because if you want to work ahead and you don't want to be here for 3 hours again on Wednesday, you can do these tonight or tomorrow or whatever. Wednesday, I'll just review your final project, and if everything's good, I'll give you a certificate and you'll be good to go. So I'm just going to call this remaining items. I will toss this in the Slack channel. One thing I'm going to show you guys how to do real quick, just because we didn't spend a whole lot of time on maps. If you go to your sales by state worksheet, if we're just showing the US here, I don't necessarily, it's the data inc ratio thing. I don't like how it has Mexico and Canada up here, and like some of the labels and stuff as well too. Like we don't have data for Mexico and Canada, so I don't like showing them on the chart here, because like people could get confused and be like, oh, it's light gray for this province up here. And it's kind of annoying to work with. So if you want to remove those, go up to map in the top tab here and choose background layers. And then what I do is I just drag wash out all the way up to 100%. So that's just going to remove anything on the map that's not data, right? We're just going to wash it out. Now, one thing I will call out, which isn't part of the homework, gosh, my formatting is so ugly here, but Tableau does have some additional data layers in here. If you click this where it says no data layer, it has, can I drag this over? No, I just can't. Oh, there we go. It has some like public data sources here: household medium income, housing units, blue collar and farm occupations, median age, so on and so forth. If I choose one of these, maybe we do like age, medium age, remove our washout here. Wait, how do I get it to show? One second. It's not showing me what I want. Oh, there we go. Don't actually do this because it's kind of messing up, but you can choose these different things, medium age, and it will actually tell you what the medium age is for your different states. So if you wanted to have that included, it's just default data sets. It's kind of stupid. I'm going to get rid of it right now, but it's in here if you ever want it. I'm going to put my back on my color. Gosh, I messed everything up. There we go. Sorry, hopefully you guys didn't get lost there. Map, background layers, wash out to 100%. So that just looks a little bit cleaner there. Okay. I think we're good. Does anyone have any questions about the remaining things that we need to do?
No, but you'll put a link to this, or you'll post this.
Update titles to use parameters, right? We've talked through that before. We can click in here. We can change our sheet name to be whatever we want. We can insert different parameters here. We can color a scatter plot by our measure to show, right? We already have a field called measure to show. So we can drag that over on our scatter plot. We know how to create parameters. These are going to be the same as our, what's it the same as? As our measure to show. So we can duplicate those. We'll create the parameters and we'll create the calculated fields just like we did for measure to show. We have a parameter and we have a calculated field. So we'll create an x-axis and a y-axis parameter. We'll create an x-axis and y-axis calculated field. We'll swap out our sum and our profit there. We'll clean these up. Hopefully you guys all know how to get rid of grid lines by now. Our tooltips, remember, if you ever want to edit those, whoops, you just click tooltip. And again, all I'd probably really get rid of is just that CF. Makes it a little cleaner. Okay, no one has any questions on these. Now's your time to ask. Otherwise, we'll plan on doing this Wednesday.
On Wednesday, are we just submitting it or like?
Yep. So if you get all these things done tonight or tomorrow, all you'll do on Wednesday is just share me the link to your final project. I'll click through and make sure everything works and you have all the values that you need. So I just sent the remaining items in the Slack channel. I'll send the PowerPoint too. And here's my final project. If you guys want to reference that, also in the Slack channel. And then if you're in person, I'll hand you guys your certificate. If you are remote, I will mail those to you and then you're free to go. So like I said, I've had some people come in, they're like, hey, Charlie, I'm done. I click through it in 5 minutes. You're out of here. I've had some people that weren't paying attention tonight, literally build the whole thing from scratch on Wednesday. And that's totally fine too. But hopefully you guys have clicked save a lot tonight and have everything pretty much done. If you don't do anything before Wednesday, which again is totally fine, it'll probably take us an hour, hour and a half to wrap everything up. And we'll just click through, we'll go through one by one on these things and do it together. Same thing though, once we get done, you'll send me your link just here in class. I'll review everything, hand you your certificate, and you'll be good to go.
You're also gonna post the recording, right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Looks like fun.
Sweet. If you want to get out of here, feel free. Otherwise, I will be sticking around here for the next hour or so. this back up in a second. I just need to drop it in the chat real quick. See you, Tammy.